Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I provide online divorce, mediation, and valuation services in St. Louis, Missouri. Today, we will discuss turning disrupted leaders into a disruptive force with Michael Teape. Since 1994, Mike has been conducting business and personal effectiveness design and delivery training. He's been coaching, training the trainers, and developing training strategy for a wide spectrum of clients. He works for global corporations, leading training firms, and universities, as well as small and middle market businesses. This is awesome. It's a little bit different than our normal topics, but I think it's very applicable to what people are going through right now. And quite frankly, this type of concept of what disruption we're dealing with and as leaders, how we deal with it, I think we're all looking around being like, what
Yeah.
do we do? How do we do this? And so what is disruptive in the world of business right now that from your perspective? Like let's
I
hit
mean,
some highlights.
how long have you got? Um,
Right.
you know, it'd be easier to say what isn't disruptive, right? And that's the thing is we already had disruption in our businesses across business sectors, but then we added COVID to it. So, it was, remember, there are some key areas that all businesses face. One is the fact that climate change is affecting our business practices, whether we're forced to change things, or whether we're thinking ahead of that, and everyone's watching us as we do that, as we're leading our organizations. So that's a big piece. The second one is very much around social change. So you've got the big how our world's affected, but then there's how do the human beings interact. And social change is that people are looking for the companies that they join and they give money to as customers. What's your opinion on Black Lives Matters? How are you going around looking out, making sure that things are not so easy for me to say, equity, right? Inequality. Do you have fair practices to talk about race, sexism, all of those practices? So we're under more of a microscope of who we've got working with us to affect and give our end product, but also how we're treating them. So that's another huge piece. You've got climate change, you've got social change. There's obviously the fourth industrial revolution, technology.
Mm.
That's and the fact that there's so much like in the financial sector, as you know, fintech startups are totally disrupting how larger financial institutions are working. I mean, I used to work at JP Morgan myself, and yeah, it was uncanny. Like, oh, well, now we can do everything at a press of a button and a minuscule amount of the original price that you can with your big systems. So, technology innovation has meant that's disrupted markets. I'm thinking finance, at least, pharma, retail, um, everything you can think of. So those three, and then overall, you've got COVID,
Right.
and the COVID has had this huge impact of, well, what do we do now? It's total uncertainty. So if you're going to be disrupted, if you weren't disrupted before, thinking about, well, what's my strategy and direction on, and maybe looking at a long-term and a short-term business gain, you certainly are now because you have no idea. Right back at the beginning, we were washing our vegetables. We're washing everything, wiping down everything as it came in from the store. That mindset, a lot more uncertainty, and it having effect on people's health, and it was instantaneous and instantly, people weren't shopping anymore. I've got a client who has pivoted really well. They've been the disruptors, not the disrupted. I'd like to say that was down to me, but their CEO and the senior leadership were amazing. They were going for 30% growth of their product globally in financial services, and it was going well. They were really putting in some gains, but that just vanished. You just don't need those kind of cash management systems globally. People aren't spending money. Money's not
Hmm.
moving. So
Hmm.
how you're charging is not there on volume. It's not going to work. So they took it back. They looked at, well, how do we want to fix our are fix our mergers, make ourselves more efficient. So when we come back, because we know we're going to come back, we're going to have a seamless product for the client. Because at the moment, it feels very much like mergers, and we're running to try and catch up. They were being disrupted, even though they were the disruptors. The technology they were trying to keep up with, and mergers and acquisitions. So for them, it was like, okay, we know we can't do this, so let's not do it. Let's focus on what we want the future to look like. How are we going to build that so when we come back, we're much better placed?